wish you a very happy 75th Independence Day. If you're joining us from India and if you're joining us from outside India, just want to let everybody know that India is celebrating its 75th Independence Day today, and you can go ahead and share your wishes in the chat if you'd like. My name is Smita Mishra. I am the Public Relations Manager for District 98 of Toastmasters International. A lot of you are already members, I believe, and there are a few guests who are joining us who are not Toastmasters currently, but hopefully after today's session, you will feel some intrigue and some curiosity to know more about Toastmasters. Just to give a brief explanation, Toastmasters International is a nearly 100-year-old organization that excels in empowering individuals with public speaking skills and leadership skills. This is a not-for-profit organization based out of US, and it has peer clubs, a network of clubs across the world. We are part of Region 13, which comprises mostly of the Indian subcontinent and closer by countries. So really excited to host you all today at the inaugural session of the Public Relations Masterclass. So just to give a brief idea of what exactly is going to be held in the next 1 hour, today's session, inaugural session, is going to be on design basics using Canva. We have 2 dynamic hosts and 3 terrific trainers who will take you through in the next 1 hour and brush up some basics of branding elements related to Toastmasters, some do's and don'ts. And we will also have each of these 3 trainers take us through one unique concept of creating a poster from start to finish. So they will explain how they are approaching a design concept. They will explain why certain shapes, why certain colors, why certain font styles, and a lot of other things. If you have any question at any point of time, please go ahead and use the chat option so that we can voice it out and share it with the particular trainer. And at the very end of the meeting, we will also have an open session for Q&A where you can also voice your questions directly. We are also having a surprise gift of sorts, which our wonderful team of creatives managers have created, and all of you will be able to partake in that. So we do recommend you to please stay back till the very end. We will try to wrap up the call within an hour as promised. If you are a VPPR of District 98 who's joined in, this is one of those trainings that you should attend to be eligible for the Public Relations Hall of Fame Award, which District 98 is conducting for this year. So there will be a prompt in the middle of the session, which we will use just to track attendance. So all you need to do is just click a button if you are still here, if you're still attentive, still listening to, and still enjoying the session today. With that, let me just pause and quickly understand if there are any questions. You can have a raise of hand or just type out your question in the chat. Maybe 10 seconds. All right, great. So we will get started with the introduction and just a quick refresher about branding elements and the do's and don'ts. I would like to invite the dynamic duo, the hosts for today's event. They are the creatives managers for District 98 for this year, 2021-2022. When I say creatives manager, creativity is pretty much in their backbone. And they are the ones who are responsible for all these fantastic deliverables, these wonderful posters, vibrant content that you see on and across our social media pages. So with that, let's introduce with a big round of applause, Toastmaster Rupali and Toastmaster Abhilash, the hosts for first masterclass session. Over to you guys.
Thank you so much, Toastmasters Smita. So let us quickly start by going through the visual guidelines in our recently updated brand manual. So first, I would like Toastmaster Abhilash to start with the colors.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rupali. I'd like to have a confirmation about my screen sharing is visible. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We'll quickly go through the new color palette or from the updated brand manual of Toastmasters, where we have 3 vibrant primary colors and 1 accent color: true maroon, loyal blue, cool gray, and a happy yellow. And you can also see the hex codes given here, which can be easily, which can be used to find the colors in any tools which you are using to design the poster. Personally, I feel this lady is so happy because of the new color palette, because the next 2 pages has added more colors to our creative poster making process, which is added newly in the Toastmasters brand manual, which is nothing but gradient colors, where we have gradients for blue, maroon, and cool gray. There is no gradient for yellow. And these are the combinations of the gradients has to be used in any of our Toastmasters poster. And then the transparencies, which is also newly introduced, which can be used in the combination with maroon, blue, and also gray over the blue swatch. This is a very quick input about the colors. I would like to hand it over to Toastmaster Rupali to talk about the fonts in the brand manual. Over to you, Toastmaster Rupali.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Abhilash. Now, with all the colors and elements holding up the flavors in our posters, fonts usually tend to be the front foot players. Let me give you a quick example. Now, most of us know this soft drink company called Coca-Cola. Now, if you see the logo of Coca-Cola, it is written in a cursive font. Now, if you go to a store and you find a Coca-Cola bottle which has the logo written in a bold font, you would think that it is maybe an off-brand version of it, and probably you will not buy it. Similarly, we have which is why they say fonts are the most effective method to show professionalism or uniformity in a brand or a design. And especially at Toastmasters, we are given 2 particular fonts. The first font that we have is Gotham. Now, it is suggested that we use this font as in our titles or headings because they appear to be bold and also come out stronger. Now, let us say you are using a design tool that does not support Gotham font. Toastmasters has given us a free alternative called as Montserrat, which can be used if your tool does not support Gotham. Coming to the next font, we have Myrad. Now, this font can be used for minor details such as your meeting ID, date, time, etc., or the body of your poster. Now, if your tool does not support Myrad, we have another free alternative called Source Sans Pro. And finally, if your designing tool does not allow both Gotham and Myrad Pro, a universal font such as Arial can be used throughout your poster. Now, with this, you see the uniformity in the design. This gives the uniformity and design, professional look to your design. That which is why they say fonts can be game changers. Now, one of the most common questions that is asked is only having 2 fonts can make your design look a little simple, which is why you can see that it has certain examples given on the left side of your brand manual. Sorry, right side of your brand manual. That is, you can use either a black font or a bolder font, so that there is a certain difference between every single statement, or your particular statement can stand out. With this, we come to the end of the font section. And to take the event further, I would like to hand it over to Toastmaster Avinash.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rupali. I'd like to continue the session along with a quick introduction about the images which can be used in our Toastmasters poster, whichever images we make. As you can see in this screen, these are all the images which we are not supposed to use. Should not use a copyrighted images or illustrations or icons or cartoons, memes, personalized club logos. All these are big no-no from Toastmasters International. Then you think, what are the images I can actually use if there is no such images can be put in? There is a image repository in the Toastmasters International site which can be accessed by anyone, and you can use that photos, your club members' photos depicting a public speaking environment only. So this is a very quick introduction about the colors, fonts, and images to be used in any Toastmasters poster, which will be created either for your club meeting or any keynote speech, so and so. And going forward from here, we have amazing design demo lined up for you guys. To introduce our very first designer, I'd like to call Toastmaster Rupali. OT Toastmaster Rupali.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Abhilash. So let us quickly move to our first demo in this meeting. Let me introduce our first trainer. Our first trainer for the day is someone who likes to design, network, and stay in touch with overall PR activities both by profession and passion. She has professional experience as a social media and digital marketer. She has been a Toastmaster for around 6 years now. She has served as a VP PR 3 times across 2 clubs. Above all, she loves what she does. Please help me in introducing Toastmaster Basudhara to take over the first session. Now let me tell you a little bit about the first session. In our first session, we will be covering the most important and effective learnings for a VPPR. The designs that we make for our regular post meetings. Yes. In addition to designing some basic yet attractive posters, Toastmaster Basudhara will also help us by keeping up the creativity in our posters. Over to you, Toastmaster Basudhara.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rupali. I just want to check whether I'm audible and visible.
Yes.
Thank you so much. All right. Fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, a very good evening to all of you. I'm Toastmaster Basudhara. I have already been introduced very nicely by the lovely Toastmaster Rupali, and so I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to dive right into what you're here for today, which is to see how we can make a poster using Canva and such that it makes sure to go with all of the brand guidelines that we have. So to do this, I will share my screen first. And I saw some questions in the chat. I hope I can answer some of these as I am making this poster today as well. So this is going to be our canvas for today. It is blank, obviously. And today we are going to fill it up in the duration of my session. Today, I'm going to make a meeting poster for you where the theme is lifelong learning. This is the theme for the meeting that the TMOD has set. In this case, I have just used myself as a TMOD. So I have set this theme, and now we're going to be making a poster for this meeting. Now, the first question that will come for me, and this is how I approach it, is to think of what will be the background. Earlier, since I have been a VPPR 3 times, I have seen the brand manual change many times, and I'm personally very happy now that gradients are included because it gives such a beautiful and different feel, like such a polished feel to the entire poster. So there are 2 ways you can look for a gradient. I want to go for a gradient, so I'm going to type, pardon, my nose is a little stuffed today, but I'm going to type gradient. Now the thing is, you get all these gradient options here, but you will notice that, for example, this one is not going to let you edit it. You can't change these colors. And since these colors are not brand compliant, you can't use it. On the other hand, Sometimes there will be some gradients that might let you change the color. This is also not one of those, but when you find those, you can tweak those colors. Then this brings us to the question, well, if you're going to use it on Canva, how are you going to add the gradients? What is the point of these gradients if you can't even use Canva for them? Not to worry, I have a solution for you. Let me change my screen. This is our solution. Our solution is to sneak in a little bit of PowerPoint into our Canva. So on the left, you see a brand compliant gradient. And I made this using PowerPoint, right? So now I'm going to show you on the right how we can convert this non-brand compliant gradient into a brand compliant one, right? Over here, we have the shape that I've picked out. In the fill option, there is a gradient option. So I'm just going to perhaps choose some version, and then on the side, you get to pick. There are gradient stops. This is how many colors there are. Now, as we just saw in the brand manual, gray has 2 colors, which means we don't need 3 stops. We just need one on the left and one on the right. So I'm going to select the middle one and I'm going to remove it, right? Now we change the colors on each side of the stop. The first color over here, I'm going to choose the gray, which I've already saved, A9, B2, B1. Once you have done enough posters, you'll also know all of the colors names by heart like this. This is A9, B2, B1. And on the other side, we have the other color, which is as part of the gradient. So please remember, you can't mix up your gradient colors. You can't have a maroon and a blue mixed. You can't have a gray and a blue mixed. None of these things can be done. It's only the color specified. Also note that the maroon gradient specifically does not even use the maroon that is actually stated in the brand colors. It uses 2 other shades to make the gradient. So please be careful about that when you're making it. Now we have this. This still has a border, an outline. So I am going to remove the outline. Now we have this rectangle, which would have made an excellent border, except it's here on PowerPoint. So what I do, 2 options. One, for a better quality, you can save this as a picture, and wherever you save it, you can then import that onto PowerPoint. The other option is literally Control C and copy from here. And let me open that screen again. Paste it over here. You got your gradient. It has been automatically uploaded. And this is a very simple, very easy way to make sure you get the gradient that you want on your page, right? So I have had my gradient. Now, just like in cooking, sometimes we prepare some things before we actually make it. I have kept some ingredients for today prepared because I have limited time and I want to make sure I cover all the things. So what goes in a poster for a club meeting, right? We have the logo, we have the club name, the club number, what meeting number it is, what area it belongs to, what district it belongs to. These are some of the details that you will have, and they will take up space. So what I like to do is I add them first so that I know how much space I have left in order to add what I want to put for my team. You don't necessarily need to follow the same order. Maybe you will find other better ways to do it. This is how I go about it for a very basic poster. So since I've kept some of these ready here, these were my tools for today. I'm going to just select this from here. I'm going to paste it here. And if you see this rectangle, which I've used as the border, is another one of the gradients that I just talked about, imported from PowerPoint, right? And here we have the club name, the club number, and area, and all of the details that we need. All right. Now we have to go to our next important thing. A meeting has a theme. We have to mention what the theme is. So today, I have kept my theme as lifelong learning. Here it is, and I'm going to center it. Okay. Now, like Toastmaster Rupali said, you have 2 fonts that you can broadly use, right? But you can play around with those. So there's bold, you can make them bold. Then you have classic, extra bold. All those options that are there within for that font are all usable. So that's why over here, I've gone for the option of making the actual theme bold so that it stands out as separate. You want to make sure that the theme stands out in whatever poster that you are making. Now, what do I want? Standard for us in our clubs is that we make sure to include the picture of the Toastmaster of the day. Now, generally, we'll receive some pictures and they will have some sort of a background on them. And sometimes those backgrounds just don't gel well with what exactly you want to put on the poster. Maybe it's a wall, maybe it's some trees, whatever it is. Sometimes it's great, but sometimes you don't want it. So in that case, you can remove the background. How do we do that? Let me just show that here. Let me hide yeah. Here. Yes.
Just FYI, 5 minutes are up.
All right, thank you. So here we have a website for you. Is it visible? The website changed, I changed the tab. All right. This is remove.bg. Very simple background remover website. I have uploaded a picture so you can see what it looks like when there was a yellow wall at the back, completely gone. Then you can download this image and upload it on Canva and use it in such a way that there is no background at all. It will be exactly in this shape. And the way it will look like once I upload it is here, like this. So what I'm going to do now is, instead of just using it blank like this, I'm going to put it inside a frame. Frames allow you to put those pictures in a certain shape. So if you want, you can put it in this shape, in a circle, in a rounded square. In this case, I'm going to go for a rounded square, and I'm just going to drop that picture in it. Now you can see that the image has not exactly fit. You have to fix how it fits. So double click and slide it down. You can slide in what portion of the photo will be visible. I'm going to keep it here. Now my TMOD, which is the Toastmaster of the day, me, has been included in the poster. Now the theme is lifelong learning. There are many different ways that you can choose to portray lifelong learning. My first thought was a brain, but a brain is not a brand compliant image. So in that case, what can you do? Here is another lovely thing that I learned, is this wordart.com. Now, the reason I'm starting by saying brain is because that was my first idea. However, it so happened that once I actually made the brain, I didn't quite like how it looked. For me, you may like it, but I got some feedback that it's not looking as much like a brain like it should. So therefore, that is not what I went with. So your ideas can undergo some change, right? So let me show you what I finally want to go with. Here, wordart.com, I'm going to go with a light bulb. Very simple to use. You put in the words that you want within it. You give them sizes based on how big they need to be. You choose your shape from here. Now, there are some shapes that are already available within the website, but if you want to add your own, which is what I did, you go to add image and you can either choose one that's saved on your computer or put in a link. I put in the link. I made sure that I got this kind of a light bulb that I want, and therefore the words are in that shape. Now, please make sure, very important, that these fonts are also brand compliant. They are not already there on the website, which means you have to go ahead and add that font here manually. So I have the Montserrat option given here. Can we take the questions a little later? I see your hand raised so that I can finish the session. Is that okay, Smita?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so I have Montserrat saved here already. And all of these here, you can upload one of these to this website so that the font here is brand compliant as well. The same thing applies when you go to style and choose color. Always choose custom and choose the brand compliant color. This way you're getting a shape that you want, and you're also getting brand compliant letters, brand compliant colors, and it's not exactly a clip art, it's word art, which is something you can use. Words are something that you can use, right? So I have taken this, you can save that from there and you can add it here. My bad. I'm just going to now and so quick tip for that. One of the ways that you can, of course, layer it is that you right click and you set send backwards, but also control and the left square bracket does the same thing, does it quicker. Don't have to press the mouse for every single thing. So there it is. This was my concept that I wanted a light bulb coming out of my head to show that I have an idea, and I'm going to push it a little bit to the side. Now this is not complete because we obviously need very important things. When is this meeting? Where is it happening? Whom do I call if I want to know more? Important details for any meeting. So for that, I have also once again kept a gradient ready, which again from PowerPoint. And I'm going to use that here. Right. So I will start with when it is. I'm going to just give today's date. Right. Then I can copy it one more time. So this way the colors are not becoming so that there's no really maroon anywhere. So this is becoming a good accent color for this particular poster. Because if we continue to use blue again or gray again, it would have looked plain. This is what is standing out. You want this information readily available to anyone who sees it, which is why I've kept it in a color that is contrasting the gray and standing out against it. Just put the all right. And finally, I'm going to include the name of the Toastmaster of the day next to the Toastmaster of the day. So this was my broad idea for what I wanted a poster regarding lifelong learning to look like. I have, in this case, in this particular poster, not really used any transparency, but you can, should you want to. I did see a question asking how one can do that. So I'm going to show that. The question was first, whether it only has to be white. Yes, you cannot put a different color and then put a transparency over it. And second, how do you do it? You choose the element that you want. So I'm just going to choose a rectangle itself to put it over this if I were to want to do it. And okay, and I will change the color to white. After I have done that, over here, I hope it's visible, there's a transparency option. And we have, it's not just enough to have it be a certain amount of transparent. What number it has to be is also given to us by TI. So 70. Oh, just a second. Just a moment. Yeah, sorry for that mistake. Just a moment there. I'll just show my screen 1 second. So there it is. The value of this transparency has to be 70, right? It cannot be something else. You can't make it 65, 60. I know it looks like it wouldn't make that much of a difference, but the brand guidelines exist for a reason. And the reason is that once you look at a Toastmasters poster, you know it's a Toastmasters poster. Just the way Toastmaster Rupali said, you wouldn't just pick up an off-brand Coca-Cola because you'd be able to identify it's off-brand. This is something that makes us on-brand. Right? So this is how the transparency is done. I just wanted to make sure I covered that. You can do the transparency on PowerPoint too. And for that, the number is different because the way transparency works on PowerPoint is different. There you will put 30, not 70. The effect is exactly the same. So now I'm just going to remove this from here and just show you what it looks like. I hope the full screen. Is the full screen visible?
Yes, Basu, it is.
Yes, so this, in this case, is what the final poster looks like. I have covered the gradient, I've covered the transparency, given an idea for how you can remove the backgrounds, and what you can do to replace the clip arts, where you get to convey a lot more using words, but also by having a certain image that you want. And these are the important things that your meeting posters should include: your location, whom to contact, when it is, and where your club belongs as well. Right? So with that, I come to the end of my session. That is the conclusion of this session. If there are any other questions that you might have, then feel free to ask them. I'm seeing some questions.
I think we have had a couple of questions around silhouette, using silhouette with brand compliant colors.
Yes. So can I just ask you, what do you mean when you say can we use a silhouette with brand compliant color? Silhouette of what?
So for an instance, if let's say I want to make a poster of Independence Day, and let's say I get a vector, which is a black and white image of just the Red Fort, let us say, or any Indian monument that portrays this is for India. Right. And then if I convert it into silhouette and just use the Toastmaster approved maroon color with a gray background, is it considered as a clip art or is it allowed?
I think for situations such as Independence Day and for special events, right, there are some special rules that are given also. Personally, I feel like that would not maybe qualify as a clip art, but I think Smita might be a better person to answer this question.
So the thing is that sometimes what happens is people kind of put different shapes and sizes together to kind of make it look like a particular, entity. For example, somebody had shown me a picture of, they tried to build a television set using shapes and outlines of rectangles or, circles to show buttons or things like that. So technically speaking, any such loop around where you are still showing or it is still looking like a clip art or an illustration is not permitted. For word arts, there is no specific guideline in the brand manual which tells us not to do it, or it is not clearly avoidable, or it's not mentioned that it's clearly that it's not allowed to be done. However, I would strongly recommend for you to use judgment in that case, because there are some elements of what kind of imagery or what kind of value proposition that you are, that you're using for in terms of the content that's going on your poster. That should definitely reflect of, it should be reflective of Toastmasters as an entity and what is it that you learn through Toastmasters. So what I would recommend is please be careful and exercise caution if you are using the word or word art in such a way. It should not, it should still be reflective of Toastmasters and the values that it kind of creates. Okay.
Also, there is a message from Brilliant in the chat that says monument is going to be deemed as clip art. So for that specific question, monument is definitely a clip art. So
yes, exactly.
Okay.
Hello.
Lovely. Yeah, absolutely. When in doubt, cut it out.
Yes, that's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah. So your first rule of thumb is the brand manual. If that mostly clarifies the doubts, and we will share the link in the chat again, because it is very categorically mentioned, right? If you're looking at a poster and you are looking only at food, or you're looking only at, beautiful scenery, is the message going across to the guests that this particular meeting or this particular club is going to help them with public speaking or communication and things along those lines? If not, try to avoid using any kind of imagery in that case. All right. Yeah, we'll be sharing the details. I love the onslaught of questions. We'll try to park this at the end because there are 2 more demos to go. Thank you so much. We are going to quickly launch a poll right now. This is specifically for the BBPRs who are attending and trying to get credit for the Hall of Fame award. So I'm just going to launch it, and it's just a simple radio button. So if you're around and if you're watching, listening, please quickly just drop in a quick yes and do an accept. Are all images in Canva gallery copyright free? Not
all of them are not. No.
All of them are not.
You can see which ones are and which ones are not.
There was one more question about watermarks. Watermarks is definitely a no-no because that is an indication it's a copyrighted image.
Yes.
And unless you have the license to use it, please refrain from using those images. And we'll tell you why it is very serious to use copyrighted images. There have been issues where members in a district have been embroiled in legal issues as well because of the use of a copyrighted image. We'll talk a little bit about that later as well. All right, maybe 5 more seconds. All right, and we are good. All right, thanks so much, Basu. I'll hand it back over to Rupali and Abhilash to take it forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Basudhara, for such a quick, creative, and within few minutes we have made a poster for meeting. Amazingly shown. Thanks a lot. And we are still flowing up with a lot of questions. Quickly proceeding ahead with the next demo is from Toastmaster Yash Banarsi. And he is a former N1 director and currently serving as a VP Public Relations at Gurukul Education Toastmasters Club. And he has been Toastmaster for past 2.5 years. And he's a CGMA student and a freelance graphic designer. Currently, he is doing masters in his UX designing. Wow. And the demo, what he's going to show us is how to make a compelling brand compliant poster for a keynote or a workshop, like an invite of a decorated person or a Toastmaster for our workshop. Since he is unable to join today's meeting, I'll be sharing a video where he shows how to make a brand compliant keynote poster. Please let me know if my screen is visible. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome to PR Masterclass by District 98.
Is he audible? Audio is audible to everyone?
Video is paused but audible.
Okay.
I'm Toastmaster Yash, and in today's session, we are going to see how you can create compelling flyers or poster for your keynote speech or for any of the workshop. So let's go ahead. So the first thing that we are going to see is the visual hierarchy and the text hierarchy. So visual hierarchy
Abhilash, one moment. I think
what you want to.
The video is not playing well.
Yeah, video is paused.
Can you share the screen which is off the video, which is playing in the video part of the screen, rather than sharing the player? It might help.
Okay, I'm sharing it again. I'm sharing it from the beginning. Please let me know if this issue still exists.
Hello everyone, welcome to PR Masterclass by District 98.
Better.
I'm Toastmaster Yash, and in today's session, we are going to see how you can create compelling flyers or poster for your keynote speech or for any of the workshop. So let's go ahead. So the first thing that we are going to see is the visual hierarchy and the text hierarchy. Now, visual hierarchy means that what you want to convey to the people or to the guests that what this event is all about. So is it a keynote speech or a workshop? Who is going to take it or who is going to present the speech? Date, time, and venue. Usually it's Zoom in recent times. So this is a part of visual hierarchy. Now, what is text hierarchy? Let's see with an example. As you can see here, you will read this first. This sentence is big and bold, so you are automatically going to read it first. Then you will going to read this line, and you'll probably read this after that. And if there's time, at some point you may come back to read this line or maybe not. So this is a part. So this is the importance of text hierarchy whenever we create a flyer or a poster. What you want to convey first should be in big and bold, details in smaller in the hierarchy, in the text hierarchy thing, and then all the other details. So in today's session, we are going to see how you can create an amazing poster like this for your workshop or a keynote speech. Here I created a poster for the workshop for humorous speech. So let's see how we can do it. Firstly, I'm going to change the background of the project. Usually I prefer to keep it light because the things always pop out in the lighter background. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the gray gradient for my background. So now we're going to change the background, use the gray gradient. So what you can do is to create a gray gradient, a three-way gray gradient. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to search a gradient here in the elements box of Canva. And here you can see that this is a 3-color gradient. If you want to check it, you can just click the 3-dot menu and see that gradient tricolor square. So that means it uses 3 colors. As you can see here, there are 3 colors that can be used. So what I'm going to do is to cover the whole background. I'm just going to stretch the gradient once and assure that it's in the center and middle. And now I'm going to change the color. So usually for the gray gradient, it's the gray hex code from the primary color and a fair gray of F5. What we're going to do is we just going to add the color, the code phase A9B2B1, and going to add a second on the third color the same, and in the middle we are going to use the gradient color, the fair gray, that is F5, and there you go. Now we have the background set. We can lock it so that it doesn't move around. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the image of the keynote speaker or the person who's going to take the workshop. Now what I did already is that I have removed the background of the person in the photo so that it can stand out from everything. I'm just going to quickly adjust it. Now, as you can see, the background is not that compelling if you put the photo, just a person's pic here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a pictorial background to this. Just adjust it accordingly. Now, if you want to move it up a little, if you do this, it moves the whole picture. What you can do is double click on it and move it upwards. To send it to the back, you just select the position and send it backwards. Now what you can do is a minor adjustment, like if you want to add a filter to it or you have to blur it a little bit, you can do that. Now let's come to a little bit on transparencies. If we select this color, that is the blue color, as you can see here is the compliant blue color, adjust it accordingly to the pic and send it backwards so that the person's pic is up there, and just click on this icon transparency and then just click on 70 and there you go. It is adjusted to 70 and the background is properly visible. You can also lock it if you want to so that it doesn't move around. Now here we have the pic of the trainer or as the keynote speaker here or the trainer. Now what you can do is just to make it stand out, go on to in the effects and select this option called as shadows. As you can see here, click on select all and just select a drop shadow. What this does is it just creates a drop shadow around the pic. Now you can adjust it accordingly. And as you can see, it stands out from the background. Now let's use some gradients now, shall we? Again, the process is the same. Click on the elements and then go to gradients. Select any gradient that you like. I like this square gradient, so I'm going to use it here. Adjust it accordingly. As you can see in our poster, this has created I use the gradient to create a box around the title or the theme of the workshop that is going to be conducted. Again, to use the gradient, 2-color gradient, you can see what you can do is you can just select this, copy the code, go to the color, click on plus and paste it right there. Again, I'm going to do the same with Blissful Blue, copy it, select the color, go to plus and paste it. So here you go, you have created the gradient, the compliant gradient for the same. Now I'm going to add another square to put on other details. I'm going to make it a white, align it accordingly, send it back so that it pops up, and there you go. I'm going to add another space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, Control C or Command C if you're a Mac, and Command V or Control V. Select it. I want it blue, so I will make it blue. And you can adjust it accordingly if you want to add any other details right there. So what this has created is that a gradient box for the title in the hierarchy sense, we will make it big and bold. Title, the date, time here, other details, or the Zoom link or the registration link if you want to. Just quickly adjust it a bit. And also I want to add another box to highlight the name of the trainer. What I'm going to do is I'm just quickly going to make this and give it the yellow color, the compliant color of F2D F74. Now, as you can see, our basic layout is ready. Now I want it to be all centered. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just click on this, press Shift, click, click, and click, group it once, position center, and ungroup. So what this does is that it makes it all centered for the poster so that there is even space on the left and the right hand side of the poster. To if you want to check the pixel density or the pixel width, what you can do is again you can group it. If this has been selected, press Alt or Option if you're on Mac, and here if you just hover over it, you can see that the pixel space is there of here you can see 52, and here also you can see 52. So you can see that it has been properly centered from left and right. You can just lift your finger up from the Alt key and there it goes. All right, now let's add the Toastmasters logo and other details. So I personally like to use the word mark for Toastmasters if we are creating the poster which has a lot of square elements to it. As you can see, it fits perfectly in the rectangle. If you want to adjust it quickly, as you can see, there are the pink lines that guides you. And if you want to check it again, you can just select this, press Alt and hover over it so that you can see that it evenly spaced from left and right hand side. Now we'll just quickly add text to it. To add text, just simply go to text, select add heading, change the font. For instance, I'm going to choose the Montessori extra bold because it's a heading and you have to keep the track of the visual hierarchy as well, the text hierarchy. Adjust it accordingly, align it, and you can also decrease the line spacing so that there is not much gap in between the lines, and then add the heading. As you can see, we have added the heading. Now what we'll do is we just quickly adjust it accordingly. And again, if you want to move it, you can just align it to the center and change the font color to white so that it pops out a bit. As you can see, there is a lot more space here. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly crop it, select crop option, and there you can crop it a bit. Here we have added the title of the workshop. Now let's add all the other details for the same. Just to quickly save the time, I'm just going to copy this font, copy the text here and place it here. Adjust it accordingly. Now to add other details as well, I'm just going to quickly copy and paste this text, this font box, change the color, and let's give our trainer a name. Make it a little bit bold so that it pops out. And just quickly, we are going to give him a title as well. So as it's a humorous speech, let's make our trainer an HSC district champion. Just quickly drag it here. And to adjust it accordingly, what you can do is select these two by pressing Shift, group, and just drag it a bit so that it aligns perfectly. Again, if you want to check the pixel spacing, you can click Alt and see it has been aligned and centered. The pixels are the same. Now the details remains are the date and time and a little bit about our trainer. So here what I've done is I've added the date and time, But to distinguish them a little bit, I'm going to add a line in between. So as you can see here, lines and shape, there is an option for line. Click on it and it gives you a line. Now, if you go and adjust it just by dragging it, it will not happen, or it just going to get into a weird angle. I suggest is that you press shift and then go, so that it whenever it turns around in 45-degree angle, and then you can adjust it accordingly. If you just drag it around here, there's going to be a straight line. Place it here, and I'm just going to change its color quickly to blue so that it matches all the theme of the poster. All right, so here I've added the date and time. What we're going to do is to adjust them quickly. What we're going to do is group the date, time, and group the date. And to see that they're aligned properly with the proper space in between them, I'm just going to click on position and space evenly by vertically, so that the pixels in between them are equal and they're equally spaced out. Check, you can always click on it, press Alt, and here you can see this is 16 pixels away from the time menu. If you click on this and press Alt, this is also 16 pixels away. So you can see that it has been vertically spaced evenly. Now let's add other details. If there are any other details of the trainer or the keynote speaker that you want to mention, you can mention it. Also, if you want to add a line here as well, you can just copy and paste it, and as you can see, this has been aligned perfectly with the other line, and it's also centered with the paragraph right here. I'm just going to change its color quickly. Now what this creates is it creates a sense of evenness to the poster, so that you can see these lines are properly aligned with them. This creates, if you see a poster from a distance, this creates a sense of evenness in the poster and gives it a little bit of balanced equation for the poster. Now if you have any like moderator, for instance, in this case we have a moderator here. What I'm going to do is just quickly copy it just to save time and paste it right here and align it accordingly. As you can see, the line in between, the pink line is there, so that we know that it is in the center of the square. And just add other details, like if you have the Zoom link, you can also add the Zoom link or the venue. For instance, there is a registration link in the description of the post, and other details such as the Facebook page of your club or district, division, Instagram, or any other website. You can just make it and post it here. To add these icons, what you can do is click on element and search like Facebook. There you can see these are the icons that you can use. Click on it, and as you can see, there is the option to change the color. You can anytime change the color. I suggest that to use only black or white, so that the colors of the company, that the social media company such as Facebook, Instagram, don't get hampered and the poster stays compliant. All right, so there you have created your brand compliant compelling poster for your keynote speech or any of the workshop. There's a few recommendations. Whenever you place the pic of the trainer, don't be afraid to go big. Now, what will happen is that if you just use this photo as it is for the poster, people are not going to see it properly, or it doesn't stand out properly. If we go big and place it, it just catches the eye of any of the guests who's going to attend. So they can see that this is the person who's going to deliver a humorous speech workshop.
Yeah, even though Toastmaster Yash is unable to attend, and he had given us a wonderful demo of how to create a keynote speech. Due to time constraint, we are just like there's few seconds left. We are proceeding ahead with our next demo from Toastmaster Akshay. Over to Toastmaster Akshay.
Akshay, are you able to hear us?
Can you
Yes, I can hear you. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, can hear you loud and clear.
Akshay will be giving us a demo upon creating posters for milestone and celebration with a minimalistic design approach. We'll be creating a poster that can be reused for either reused with just few changes in it. Over to you, Akshay. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhilash. So good evening once again to everyone present. First of all, what I do usually whenever I'm starting my designing is I have created a template for myself for all the resources to be in one place. I will be just using that template today as well. First thing I want is I want a clear logo. What should be there on my poster? Since this is a celebration or a open house kind of event, I want my club name to be visible, since everyone should be aware which club this event is related to. Second, I want it to be associated with Toastmasters. So I'll be mentioning Toastmasters aspect, the club name, timing details, meeting link, and one key element related to the event, or else additional one depending upon what is to be going there. So these are the few specifics which I want on my poster. So let's get started with first getting the Toastmasters logo. So I would prefer to use the circular logo, which is globe. I can just copy that from there and paste it over here. I have the logo ready. Next, I want to add a club name. Now, I also want the design to have the flyer to have a design. So as we all saw how to use the gradients, I shall be using the same. Square gradient is the most popular one to be used as it gives two tone colors. I'll be using the gradient. One important aspect is, since I'm using the template, whenever I click on colors, I'll get all the document colors in one place, which gives me easy access to the gradients, which is both the colors mentioned over here, which are there on the gradient. If we can just check that out once for reference, which is deep maroon and rich maroon, which is over here, and this one. So I have the colors ready in my palette. I will just select them. So now I have the gradient. What I'll do is, as you also saw, that we can crop, or else we can also elongate certain design. So when I'm elongating it, we need to do twice to adjust it to the exact shape which we want. So I'll first try to make it a bit larger, and then I shall make it into line.
Akshay, is there any shortcut to do that? Like, is there any keys that you're pressing for that?
No, at present there are no keys. I'll share a couple of shortcuts which are there. So for example, if you want a rectangle directly on the screen, you can type R and you'll get a rectangle. Although it doesn't give you a gradient, but it gives you the shape. Then if you want a text box, you can type T and you'll get a text box. This is very useful. Now what I will do is I will rotate this particular thing to give a design element. One thing is, if I want to copy the element, what I'll do is I'll press Alt, I'll select and I'll move the element. It by default copy it. I'll just move it to degree of angle 45. I will add it over here. So my idea is to give a spotlight effect to the Toastmasters logo. So that's why I've been using this kind of design. I'll highlight the Toastmasters logo at the center. Next thing I want is to add a text. I'll just increase this to ensure that it is right there. Now, a textual element at the center, it would be good to use a square gradient with colors, or else I can also use a rectangle element. Since we are planning to use as minimalistic as possible, I'll just place this rectangle element over here at the top. What I'll do is I'll send this to back of all the other elements. The text box which I had, I will again put it to the top over here. And one thing I want to do is I want to use a font which is easily visible. So I'll add my club name. Say, let us say it is at present, for example. Now, if you see it gets elongated, what I'll do, its size is going out. So I'll reduce the font size to fit exactly. Now, as you can see, there is one more option in Canva which says show rulers, which gives me rulers on the adjacent end. What I can do is I can pick one ruler from top, place it here. I can pick another ruler and place it here so that I know this is the center of my image. I'll also get one ruler to set. Now this box of element, if I place it it will auto reset to this alignment. And once I want to remove the rulers, I can roll it back. How it is on the graph you do. Similarly, you can align it in a particular manner. Since I don't want these elements to be disturbed, I will lock the element by pressing Shift twice to select them and locking the element. They are locked. I'll be changing the font color to yellow. There is one thing which I learned recently about is that effects can be used. Now say if this is an open house meeting, I want my club name to be very specific as to share what is the club where this meeting is happening. So I'll use the effect which is lift. Ensure that lift effect is basically it highlights the text over the flyer. Now, if this would be an event which is a celebration, I would plan to use the effect which is neon and give it a celebratory feeling wherein it sparkles and lights, which gives it a special effect. And accordingly, you can set the intensity which suits the best. All right, I'll pick up a ruler to see if this is aligned properly or not in right order. So I know this is not yet there. Using arrow keys, you can specifically set even the minimal distances which you want to cover, such that you want it to be right place. Now I'll lock them again. So this is my header, which will be there at the start. Now what I can do is I can add a couple of elements, which is as we had discussed, which is time and meeting link. So for time, I will again select a rectangle box. As we saw in the last video that we want to highlight, it should be the visual hierarchy as well as the text hierarchy, how big the text should be. So I'll be adding the time element. I shall mention time. I can select extra bold such that it highlights, use the color yellow, which is highlighting on other places, place it. And below that, I can again Control C, Control V. I can place the time. Time would be 6 to 7 p.m. Now, if you plan to invite members across the world, I would suggest you add the GMT time zone also, so that it is clearly known to all which time zone this belongs to. I'll set it to center element. And this is there. And put it into white color so that it's clearly visible. Now I would group this all elements together and place it at a particular place. What I can do is I can reduce these size. The time is there on one side. I shall use another box on another side to share the Zoom meeting link. I can add a meeting ID, which would be directly, or else I can use a link. The best would be to use a link, and you can use short form, open house 2021. use the link. Now I'll tell you the reason why I have used link instead of any other aspect and how it would be helping us. I'll copy both the elements, move it bit up. Now, if you see on a poster, we have the required element, which is the club name. We have the time, we have the meeting details, we have Toastmasters logo. Now, I was mentioning about that one key element which you want to add, but if you see, there is not much space pending. So what we'll do is, as we saw the remove background thing, we shall add a couple of images. For example, I want to showcase it's a open house wherein members are eager to speak. I can get this particular image, download it, and upload. So one thing would be I would be getting an image of a person who is ready to speak. What you can do is you can also have your club members who are there as this, as it showcases whenever a guest or anyone joins, they will know that this particular member is also there in the meeting. So it helps to build more connect. Now you will send this to back. The member is there. What I can do is I can also have another image. So today I'll do this. I have this image, but as you can see, this is not aligning towards the, since this person is looking towards the logo, but this is looking away. So there is an option called as flip. I can flip horizontal. This will flip it towards the side, and then I can increase the size of the person and put it to back. Sometimes if you see the post, this image has some mark over here. So what I can do is I can clear the image. I'll just re-upload another image, upload an image wherein I can see a person, this person is there, open. I will see I have removed the image, but this effect is coming. So what I can do is I can edit. I will edit on erase and restore. I'll create the brush size and remove it effectively so that it doesn't hamper much. I can zoom it to ensure that on the parts which is of importance, I'm only eliminating that. For now, demo, I've used this image. We can use a better image which gives us much more clarity.
Akshay, just a time check.
Yes.
We have maybe 3 more minutes, 3 to 4 more minutes.
Sure, sure. I'm
Thank
just
you.
about to send to back, you increase it, you flip towards this side. Back is going, fine. So now this would be what we have made. Now nowhere it mentions what meeting it is. So what I can do is I can create a text box again. And now I need to highlight. So I'll reduce these boxes more. So it happens, see, if you're starting designing, it might happen that you are not aware like how the design would look like as you go. So you can make these changes at that time. Now I want to highlight open house effectively. So in this, I'll mention open. I'll select a font which is yellow. I'll select another aspect which is house. So this is there. But to add a readability, what I would do is I would increase this font. Okay. Effect which it needs, make it strong. There is a letter spacing which helps you to increase the letter spacing. You can do that. Now this house, what I would do is I'll just change it to another color. which adds the desired effect of highlight, which I want to do. This is 69. I also keep it as 69. This is add. Now this may feel as if the entire image has a very whitish background. What I'll do is I'll select all the elements, group. Since this is already locked, I need to unlock them first. Then I need to select all.
I think it's happening because of the bottom two things that you've already grouped, Akshay, the text boxes.
Yes, yes.
Ungroup them and then regroup them.
So you have to ungroup any element which is there. What I'll do is I'll take a element gradient again. I'll increase it. I'll use the gray gradient so that I get. I'll put it to send to backward. Yes. So this is how the poster would look. We'll just show it in full screen as well. So this is how the poster looks. It shares my name. It shares the Toastmasters International point of view. And it shares the reason for this meeting. If it's a celebratory meeting, I can add the light effect over here. Or else if I also want to show a previous, say you have a milestone meeting of 50 and you have clicked an image with all your members, why not use that image as a background of the lower half? Or you can use snippets of that event and put it on the sides. This way, what will happen is that you get to place elements, members of your club onto the posters, and it effectively gives that touch to all the members of your whoever is seeing the poster. So this was something using as minimal shapes. We only use rectangle, we use images, and we use a one couple font. Rest everything, there are not much elements. Using this, you can transform this poster into different reasons. Maybe it's an open house, maybe it's a milestone meeting, or any other celebratory event. The reason for me adding the Zoom link over here was I can hyperlink this with the actual link. And if tomorrow what practice I use in my clubs is I share this particular poster like a website. So when I do it like a website, I create a link which I can post anywhere on my social media. And whenever I click on this link, it will redirect me. That's another aspect of using linkage. Or else you can add a QR code. QR code is also simple to add. Just click QR code element, which can be found from the more. Click QR code, enter the URL and generate. So I'll just enter a random URL, generates the code. It generates the QR code, which you can easily place it on your poster. And you can mention scan to join. All right, with this, I believe this is what the minimalist, I also started doing this role just a couple of months back. So this is what I could share from the minimalistic point of view. I hope we got a bit of idea on how to use rulers, what are the shortcuts which are there for rectangle, circle, line, and text. It helps to ease up the poster design. Any element you want to duplicate, click on the element, press Alt and drag it to whichever location, and it will duplicate the element. Thank you all.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Akshay. And I know a few of people have also asked some questions, so you can take some time and just a few minutes more to the session. I know when the questions start coming in, we do have to take some time and respond to it. I will flip it to Abhilash and Rupali, but before that, just two key things that I would like to stress upon whenever you are in the process of designing something, right? The first thing is attention to detail is important. What is the event about, the time, the date, the venue, or the meeting in this case? Please ensure you are capturing accurately the information on the poster. That's very, very important. Please ensure that your elements, imagery, fonts, and colors are all brand compliant. Some of the tips and tricks that you saw today, you can use that as well. We will be having a session primarily on branding as well. That is going to be the masterclass part 2 next month, where we will deep dive a little bit more about branding and different elements where you can ask specific questions. And we are also reaching out to Toastmasters time to time with all these consolidated questions, because there are a lot of things which are ambiguous or not exactly clear in the brand manual. So the brand team is very, very positive and they respond very quickly. If any of your questions you feel are not answered, you can write to them directly, or you can write to us and we can ask it on your behalf as well. The third thing is very, very important. Please ensure that whoever is looking at your poster or your collateral takes back a particular call to action, right? What do you want the audience to do when they look at your poster? Are you encouraging them to come and attend? Are you giving them some guidance around what this event is going to be about, or how is it that going to benefit them? If you're able to focus on these 3 things, it's a solid way to represent whatever it is that you're trying to represent through your posters. With that, let me invite back Abhilash and Rupali. We did promise a gift in the beginning, and they are here to unveil that particular gift. So back to you, Abhilash.
Thank you, Smita. Indeed, we had an amazing demo. Like, I'm mind blown with this. Such a few span of time, we have seen amazing designs coming up. As Smita mentioned, we have a gift plan, and this is going to be a quickest reveal of our gift. What if all the points which you have seen and just like everything kept in one place for you to design any poster at any given time within the very less time? Will be good, right? So here comes the gift for everyone who is attended today's meeting. With the drum rolls rolling in, here comes the District 98 Design Starter Kit. We have collated many templates, important instructions, what to be followed, like logos, color palettes, pathway badges, and more than 20 plus flyer templates, which can be quickly reused for any club meeting. Maybe it's a milestone meeting or a keynote speaker meeting, or it could be anything. All are brand compliant. You just need to change your club name, just put your teams, and also Toastmaster of the Day details, and a quick flyer about benefits of Toastmaster membership, which can be shared across in your club or outside your club to increase the visibility of Toastmasters. We have so many templates, and we also have this available in different dimension. I'm just showing now on the square. We have it in the poster dimension also, which is a rectangle in shape. It is completely collected and created from our DPRM office and by the creative managers, myself and Rupali. This is the amazing gift. Waited. I think it's worth the time wait for all this, even though we are running out of time. And this is the gift we promised. Hope you all like to use this templates going forward for your meetings. Thank you, and over to you.
Just a note, guys, these are just indicative. I mean, of course, we would not like to see everybody starting to use all of these in one go. But this is just to help you in case if you are not a designer, either by background, by profession, and this is something you want to at least get involved in, start building on. So these are some things which will definitely help you scale up very quickly. and then use all the tips and tricks that you saw in today's session and try to tweak things around, play with elements, and kind of, see how you can build your own creativity around these things. We have tried to build in and include things. If you have any questions about any of these, please do reach out and we can read. Yes, thanks, Sangeeta. That's a good question. We will be sharing the editable link for these poster series. There are two sizes. One is a 1:1 square size and one is a more of a Facebook poster design size. So we will share both of that. I'm just going to quickly share another poll. If you want this starter kit, please just click on yes. We will ensure that you all receive this by email after the session gets over. And yes, whoever says yes, it's only going to them. We'll ensure not to spam you all for the rest of it. We want to keep this open for just maybe another minute. If you are not paying yet attention, you can please go ahead and just click on a yes or a no. With that, I believe we've come to an end to today's session. We can probably just take a couple of quick feedback. If anybody would want to unmute themselves or raise their hand and share, that'll be great. We'll keep the poll running in the meantime. Yes, Fatima, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Toastmasters Smita. This was amazing session, as I've just introduced to this poster making in, I think, in about 20 days. This was a great session. Thank you everyone for the demos and for the quick tricks. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Fatima. Hi, Sunil, go ahead.
Hello, thanks a lot for the wonderful session. I really thank all the presenters and all the trainers for spending their time and teaching us how to make posters and everything. I just had a quick question, maybe to you, Smita. In case if there is a clash between the corporate brand guidelines and the Toastmaster brand guidelines, which takes the precedence?
So obviously, if you're building anything on Toastmasters related collateral, the precedence does go to Toastmasters. Having said that, a lot of times there is some semblance of balance that you can explore. For example, if the fonts that Toastmasters are recommending is not something you can use in your corporate setup, you can always use Arial as a baseline font. That is something that even the brand manual suggests. In addition to that, there are also a few clubs who have just simply gone baseline black and white, if in case they're not able to use the brand colors as well, because that is kind of like the safest bet to go. There is an opportunity for you to co-locate logos of corporates and of Toastmasters together. Please refer to the brand manual for more details. And if you have any specific query, you can always directly write to brand@toastmasters.org and they will promptly respond to your questions.
Thanks a lot, Smita. I will definitely write.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We are overshot, so we will now close the session. Just want to let you all know, PR Masterclass is going to be held monthly for the next near about 6 months of duration, and we will be covering every bit of unique aspect of public relations in these sessions. We will be talking about branding. We'll be talking about social media tips and tricks. How do you do digital advertising? If you want to start a podcast, how do you generate leads and blog? How would you want to do, specific elements of PR campaigning itself? All of this and more is to come. So we will keep you all posted for the next session. And please do share and write to us directly if you have any other feedback. All the questions that have been mentioned, whatever was not answered, we will try to compile the answers and send it back to you guys so that you have some sort of ready reckoner as well.